The early decades of the United States were marked by significant territorial expansion and the complex, contentious process of admitting new states into the Union. This period, from the late 18th century to the mid-19th century, saw the intersection of American growth with the divisive issue of slavery, setting the stage for the Civil War. Following the American Revolution and the subsequent achievement of independence, the 13 original colonies faced the challenge of integrating new territories into the Union. The Northwest Ordinance of 1787 and its successor, the Ordinance of 1789, established a framework for this process. These ordinances placed new territories under federal authority and provided a pathway to statehood. Once a territory's population reached 60,000, it could elect a convention to draft a state constitution and apply for admission to the Union. Before the close of the 18th century, 3 new states joined the Union: Vermont, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Vermont was formed from territories in western New Hampshire and eastern New York, Kentucky separated from Virginia, and Tennessee emerged from lands originally part of North Carolina. The Northwest Ordinance of 1787 was significant for its prohibition of slavery in the Northwest Territory, which included future states like Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, and Wisconsin. This set a precedent for the admission of free states in the northern part of the country, starting with Ohio in 1803. However, the admission of Louisiana as a slave state in 1812 highlighted the growing sectional divide. As the United States expanded, a major division emerged between the northern states, which were gradually abolishing slavery, and the southern states, where the growth of cotton plantations deepened reliance on slave labor. This division led to intense debates and compromises in Congress to maintain a delicate balance between free and slave states. The next wave of state admissions reflected this balance. Indiana and Illinois were admitted as free states, while Mississippi and Alabama joined as slave states. However, Missouri's request for admission as a slave state in 1819 threatened to disrupt this equilibrium. The Missouri Compromise of 1820 was a critical effort to preserve the balance between free and slave states. It admitted Missouri as a slave state and Maine, which had been part of Massachusetts, as a free state, maintaining the Senate's balance. Additionally, it established the 36° 30 parallel as the dividing line for future states. North of this line, slavery would be prohibited, while south of it, slavery could expand. The 1830s and 1840s saw the admission of Arkansas and Michigan, followed by Florida and Texas in 1845, and Iowa and Wisconsin. Each new admission required careful navigation of the slavery issue. Texas, which had gained independence from Mexico in 1836, joined the Union as a slave state, while Iowa and Wisconsin joined as free states. Western expansion continued to open new territories, many of which were less suited to plantation agriculture and, consequently, less inclined to adopt slavery. California's application for statehood in 1850, following the gold rush, sparked another significant crisis. Its admission as a free state threatened to upset the sectional balance. The Compromise of 1850, orchestrated by Senator Henry Clay, sought to address these tensions. It admitted California as a free state, included a stricter fugitive slave law, and allowed for popular sovereignty in the New Mexico and Utah territories, letting residents decide on slavery. However, the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, proposed by Senator Stephen Douglas, effectively nullified the Missouri Compromise by allowing the residents of Kansas and Nebraska to choose whether to allow slavery. This principle of popular sovereignty led to violent clashes known as Bleeding Kansas, as pro-slavery and anti-slavery settlers fought for control. The entry of Minnesota and Oregon as free states further tipped the balance in favor of the North. Kansas's admission as a free state in 1861, coupled with the election of Abraham Lincoln, an anti-slavery Republican, as president, was the final catalyst for Southern secession. 11 Southern states seceded from the Union, forming the Confederate States of America and precipitating the Civil War. The process of admitting new states into the Union from 1790 to 1861 was deeply intertwined with the contentious issue of slavery. Each new state's admission required careful negotiation and compromise to maintain the balance of power between free and slave states. These tensions ultimately proved irreconcilable, leading to the secession of the Southern states and the outbreak of the Civil War. The period highlighted the growing sectionalism within the United States, driven by economic, social, and ideological differences over slavery, and set the stage for the nation's most devastating conflict.